What do they automatically display on my
45.6?
Rav Aaron,
yes, sure.
I read something in the Ated, giving you my source this week that before you go off on tells, there was a story there where
I didn't go off. I just found it hard to believe.
Where they went where in Kol Torah, in Bnei Brak, in Bayit Vegan of Shlomo Zalman's yeshiva.
They're very religious.
They're very religious, where the menorah was not lit, I think, on the southern wall, where it says in Allah it's supposed to be in the southern wall. They went to Rav Shlomo Zalman, and maybe they should move it. And he said not to move it because the previous yeshiva, it says the name, was very makbid on halacha, and we don't want to, embarrass him if he made a mistake. And it could be he had a reason. And they ended up going looking at his Mishnah Berurah, and they saw a note in the Mishnah Berurah on the southern wall of the Aron Kodesh.
What does it have to do with tells?
Maybe they had a reason.
I mean, tells had a reason.
Maybe they had a, you can't go, don't go, throw away some, Gifter was a big person.
No, what are you?
If he was involved.
What are you saying this about me for? What do you do? What's wrong with you?
What I do now?
What are you crazy? Are you crazy?
He didn't. He wasn't taking. He's not saying that you think that tells did anything wrong. He's just asking if tells did a lifnei iver. That's all.
That's what I'm asking.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Don't those candles burn depending on how hot it is?
Yeah. The first night they last about a half hour. The second night a minute less.
I didn't even want to say it. It's less when you have Tanah, when you got
by the eighth night.
When your
it's like 10 minutes.
8 and you have if you have 3 kids using on the same table.
Yeah, but can I do which adult male is beyotzei the mitzvah with those candles?
I didn't say anybody is. That's not the point.
There are women
who use those candles every year.
One second. Are you sitting in your little cocoon of Farakwe and saying no one in the Orthodox world uses those candles? Most of the Orthodox
say that.
World,
of course they do. I didn't. But
please.
Of course they do. That doesn't mean that it's right.
Avi SONTAG.
Yeah.
You left me open for this one. You said your father used those candles, right? It says whoever's Zohar in Neiris has Talmidei Chachamim for kids. So.
Touche. Yeah.
Sorry about that. I just had to.
It was all the candles' fault. There we go.
Listen, I'm getting you off the hook. You're getting off the hook.
There you go.
This whole discussion sounds like the Bachram.
I think you should start to record it again.
The answer is blowing in the wind to bring it back to current event.
The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. You have to keep the gears correct.
This whole discussion sounds like the Bachram singing at Rav Hutner's table over Pesach Seder, and they, he gives them the little piece of matzah, and they bring out the big piece out of their jackets. Out frumming with Ramakis,
Very good. Very good. Yeah, okay, I'll look later. I'm smart in the car. So I'll look later for the sources, Rabbi, and I'll send a picture to you.
Okay.
Okay, so we're ready to go? Yeah, okay. So Chaf Beis Amud Aleph.
There you go. I had to come on even just to show you my haircut.
There you go. Okay. Lando just texted me if you can get a haircut on Hanukkah. So I said, yes, you can. And now I expect to see it on the daf. So he's on. That's gotten that.
Like 5 minutes ago, I'm like, why was Ruben so empty? Are we allowed to even take haircuts? And he's like, whatever. I'm like, let me ask.
People probably weren't sure about its structure.
Don't worry, Seasons was empty also. The whole 5 towns is somewhere else.
Right.
Correct.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yes. The 5 towns is in the 6th town, which is Florida. But those are for the low class 5 towns people. The higher class are in other places.
No kidding, by the way. Central Avenue was a ghost town tonight.
It was a Messiah. I didn't have to wait online. I did my shopping in exactly 8 minutes. It was fantastic.
Is it just me, or does it feel like everyone's going to the UAE right now? feel like everybody I know is going to the narrative.
I just saw. I can't believe you said that.
Right?
I just saw in there the full page ad with one of the professional rabbis who's taking a tour in February, President's Week. You know, one of the professional Jews.
It's a pella how all these guys learned how to give tours of the UAE in a month.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway,
whole new industry. Every time there's a treaty, there's a whole new industry opening up.
Correct. And all the mussar that could be learned from the UAE.
3 weeks ago, if somebody gave you a free ticket, you'd say, "Chas v'shalom, am I crazy?"
I promise they already have 20 farms they found already. I promise. At least 20 farms are found in the UAE. Could go on tours already.
There's weddings there now. There was like crazy.
Yeah.
All the rabbis that they just found. Don't worry.
That's right. With the schoolers are coming soon.
Oh yeah, fast and furious.
Anyways, okay. Fine. Okay, so basically, yesterday, Chaf Aleph, right? Yesterday was Chaf Aleph, right? So it's basic. The main you say that, and we're going to continue this for the next couple of blocks, is chametz is assur b'hana. How do you know it? So we had a Machlokes, which is very important for tonight's stuff, and the next stuff is how do you know chametz is assur b'hana? So the Machlokes is whether you darshan the word lo yoichel. Anytime the passuk says lo yoichel, that means issur hana also or not. So now we're going to go through every case kemat in the Torah of whether something's assur b'hana, not assur b'hana, and trying to figure out if we hold of that, if we don't hold of that, if it fits into the word of lo yoichel or not. Right, so that was basically, we had just started it, and now we're going to continue this. So that's the Chaf Beis Amud Aleph. We're up to Harei Gid Hanashe. We missed it by 2 weeks, Gid Hanashe. Yeah, Harei Gid Hanashe. Yeah, it's 6 lines down from the top. Yes, Harei Gid Hanashe. Right, what do you call it? Gid Hanashe in English?
Sciatic.
What's it called?
No.
Yes, sciatic.
Right, the sciatic nerve, right? Harei Gid Hanashe. The Rachman Amar Al Kain Lo Yochlu B'nei Yisrael Es Gid Hanashe. Right, so it says, so therefore, because the Malach hit Yaakov on it, so the Klal Yisrael is not going to eat the Gid Hanashe. Okay, so there it says Lo Yochel, right? It's a lashon of Lo Yochel. So therefore, it should be assur b'hana, right? That's what Rabbi Vo holds. Yeah. So again, Rachman Amar Al Kain Lo Yochel B'nei Yisrael Es Gid Hanashe. V'tanan Shalei Adam Yerach LeNachri. A person is allowed to send the thigh to a nachri and they get hanashe in it because it's very recognizable what's assur and what's not assur. Meaning, why are you allowed to send it? Why can't you send it to a guy? A guy doesn't have to keep it. So the problem is that the guy may go give it to a yid and say, I got this from a yid. Right? So, but it's mashma that you are allowed to give it to a guy. Oh, if it says lo yochel, it should be assur b'hana. Right? So how would you be able to send it to a guy at all? So Kasav Rabavo, Kashahutru Nevela, he v'chalva v'gido hutra. No, Rabavo holds that when we matter Nevela to Hana, so we also included the chelev and the gid. Right? So therefore it's all included in being matter Nevela b'hana, because there it says beferish in the pasuk the gerasher b'sharecha tinena v'achla. So hanichel manda amar yesh b'gidar b'nois tam. That only works according to the manda amar that says that gid gives a taste. So if it gives a taste, it could be included in nevela. El manda amar ain't b'gidar b'nois tam. But according to the shita that holds that a gid does not have any taste, ma'ikol meimar. What are you going to say, right? Because how can you call it basar that's mutter to give? Why would anybody give anybody a gid hanashe to a ger or a taisha or whatever it is? It's tasteless. Yeah. So the Gemara answers, Man Shamle Damar Ein Begidim Enois Tam Reb Shimon. Who's the one that says the gidin don't have tam to it at all? It's Reb Shimon. The Tanya Oicham Gid hanashe shel behema tameya. Somebody eats a gid hanashe from behema tameya. So Yehuda Mechayev Shtayim. Yehuda says you chayev twice. Why twice? Because it's a behema tameya and it's also the gid hanashe. Reb Shimon Paiter. Reb Shimon says you're potter, right? Why does he say you're potter? So since there's no taste, so therefore, meaning from behemoth to me, you're potter, because there's no tam in the gid hanashe, and from gid also you're potter. Yeah, but and because he holds that the only time gid hanashe is assur, that's when the animal itself is mutter, meaning a kosher animal has the problem of gid hanashe. A treif animal does not have the problem of gid hanashe. Similar to basar b'chalav, right? Basar b'chalav only has the problem if it's kosher meat with treif. It's with milk, but treif meat with milk is not assur b'hana for sure, right? So that's sort of the same thing. You only say the issur of gid hanashe if the animal is kosher. So Reb Shimon says potter on both. Reb Shimon hachanami dosa b'hana, and hachanami Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon Paiter. Yes, so that's what Reb Shimon says is potter. Reb Shimon hachanami dosa b'hana. The Tanya gid hanashe mutter b'hana. Reb Shimon oiser, and Reb Shimon says it's assur. So in hachanami, Reb Shimon Taka does not allow it to be assur. Does not allow it to be mutter b'hana because it has no taste, and it's not mutter because of nevela, right? Okay, so that's basically what we're coming out from here. Now, the main thing to learn out from here that's in practical halacha is that only things that give off taste can be assur. Obviously, gid hanashe according to Rabbi Yehuda, is it Rabbi Yehuda? Yeah, according to Rabbi Yehuda, is a special situation. But other than that, if something doesn't give off taste, then that can't make anything treif. Right? Fine. So that's that. Barei dam. He's not here. He went to sleep. Sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, that's what happens when you're a guest in somebody else's house. Okay, Barei dam. Right,
I don't mean this is a joke. But so let's say somebody is a horrible cook.
You're asking a good question.
So it's even a negative taste. Yeah, it's a it make their food's mamish a negative.
Right.
So to be an issur on, would there be an issur?
Maybe you might be potter if a taka doesn't taste good. Let's say you take treif fish and you put it in with your ice cream. Right? So now, would that mean, and that tastes terrible, nobody likes it. So now can you eat the ice cream? If you don't see tuna fish there, obviously if you see it, you can't eat it. But if it's just a mixture and it got mixed, then that's not going to benefit from it. Yeah. Now the interesting thing is, what happened?
So why do we ask for gelatin?
Very good, very good. So the thing to learn out from this whole din is gelatin, right? Because what's with gelatin? Gelatin's bones. It doesn't have any taste. So what happens if something is tasteless? It's not bad and it's not good, right? So from here,
is this subjective to each person?
It is, yeah. But anachanami. So what?
1 second. Aren't there shitas that gelatin because it has no taste? Aren't there shitas because gelatin has no taste? But it's not a problem.
Yes.
That's what he's saying.
A major shita.
People eat pshat.
Chaim Oizer, you don't even know about it, but Chaim Oizer, who was the Gadol Ador. What are you saying?
Isn't gelatin also because of Davar Amamid?
No, but if you hold at the whole bone, it comes from a bone. It comes from nothing. It's not assur. You could eat it straight.
Yeah, but Davar Amamid doesn't need tam.
What do you mean? Sure, it does. It's got to do something.
Only when the assur is tam.
It has to give something. It has to be a
didn't
benefit.
I thought Chaim Oizer held that it was not bones anymore. He didn't even consider it as the same min, right?
Something like that, yeah. Yeah.
Isn't there a difference though?
Because it's also ground up into a flour.
You ground it up to, yeah. So there's no taste.
Totally different. It's not just this. It's
Panam Chadashis.
Totally different thing.
It's a new entity. Yeah. Anachanami. There's a that was something else. That was a different hechsher. But that's what it is. Yeah. Okay, so let's see about that.
Where do we
Wait,
say
and
if it
then-
tastes good? It just says it has a good taste.
Beer.
Yeah.
When I was in the Budweiser plant in St. Louis, they run the beer through bones of certain fishes for whatever reason. It's part of the filtering process.
Is that so?
Yeah, the guy said that on the tour.
Interesting. What do you want to say, Benjamin?
Does it have to have a good taste, or does it just have to have a taste? Because you put fish or something that doesn't taste good, right? I'm only seeing here nice in Tom. Where does it say that it has to have a good taste in order to be assur?
No, and a chanami, that's the big shaila, is neutral taste. Where do you put neutral taste? I was looking, I know it's a shach. I was looking for it today. I couldn't find it. There's a shach that discusses neutral taste. It's that doesn't taste bad, doesn't taste good. And I know he brings a machlokes. I couldn't remember how he comes out, and I couldn't find it today. So I apologize for that. But yeah, it's a shaila in the poskim. Neutral taste, is that considered? It's not bad and it's not good. Yeah.
Pshat neutral taste, by the way.
Is pshat neutral? I never ate pshat, so I can't tell you.
Avi, grow up. Pshat is one of the most delicious things in the world, you know?
There you go.
If you eat my pshat, you know,
I'm not going to be happy.
If you eat my pshat, you know it ain't neutral.
I can't eat it anymore, you know, but I'm not allowed to eat it with my gout. But with pshat with a l'chaim, Avi, please, you're a baby. You're a baby, you know.
Aaron, it's worth a little bit of discomfort.
Yeah, I'll give you my discomfort. I'll sell you my discomfort.
Listen, I find with pshat, either you're all in or you're all out. It's either you love it or you hate it. There's no neutral. There's no taste neutral by pshat. There you go. For in your name, right? There's no taste neutral.
3/4 of the people who hate it never tried it. They don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see right there. Okay. Next. So what's the next case? Varei dam. Okay, blood. And I hope this doesn't bring up any bad memories again of last sugya, right? Because there was a lot of dam, and the Gemara quotes it. Varei dam the Rachmana Amar blood. The Torah says kol nefesh mikem lo yisaychel dam. You're not allowed to eat dam. V'tnan elu ve'elu misarvin ba'ama. Right. So the way it worked is when they poured the blood on the mizbeach, and then it would go through the mizbeach into the elu ve'elu. So from this and from this, from the two holes in the mizbeach, right? Misarvin ba'ama, they would mix in the amma, v'yotzin l'nachal kidron, and go out to nachal kidron, and mekarim beganin l'zevel, and they would sell it to the gardeners for fertilizer, or moil and buy, and you would be moil on it, meaning if you use it, that's me'ilah. It's as if you're using kachim. So you see, it says loy soichal, and it's clearly mutter ba'ana because you could sell it. Saying more answer shani dam diskush l'mayim. No, we have blood that's compared to water. The siv loy sachleno al oretz. Don't eat it, spill it onto the floor like mayim. Ma mayim mutarin, just like water's mutter, afdam mutter. So too, water's mutter. Right? So the Gemara says, what do you mean? No, maybe it's like we should compare. It doesn't say which water to compare it to. Maybe it should be compared to the water that you pour on the mizbeach by the nisuch hamayim by sukkos. It means like roiv mayim, right? So just like water is mutter, so too blood is mutter. So then roiv mayim, midi roiv mayim. Does it say roiv mayim? It doesn't say roiv mayim. It just says like mayim. So Marabashi kemayim anishbachim like kemayim anisachin. No, it means mayim that's spilled and not like mayim that's poured. So Gemara says, okay, so if he's saying it's poured, so why don't we say that it's like water that's poured in front of avodah zarah, which is also bahana, obviously, because it's avodah zarah. So the Gemara says, that's also called nisuch. Right? Drink the wine of their nesachs, of their libations, as they call it, right? Now on Tomei Beis. Fine. So that's basically what we're saying. I'm sorry, before we go back, let's just clarify it. So we're saying that blood is compared to water, just like water is mutar b'hana, so too blood is. So then, what about Chizkiyah? Right? He says that he disagrees with Rabbi Vo, and he says you don't. Anytime it says lo yachal lo soichel, it does not mean Isser Hana. So then you don't need this passuk for anything, right? What do you mean? This comparison to Mayim, what do you need it for? Why'd you compare blood to water? How do we know that dam kodshim does not make? I hope we remember this from the Rav Chanina Skana Kohen. How do you know that blood, right? Again, before any food can become kosher to be makabel tumah, you got to put liquid on it. So how do you know that blood does not count? Blood of kodshim doesn't count. It doesn't make it kosher to be makabel tumah. Don't eat it, spill it on the floor like water. Dam shenish kamayim machshir, blood that gets spilled out like water is machshir. She'eni nishbach kamayim ena machshir, but doesn't get spilled out like water, doesn't make it kosher. And the mizbeach blood is not spilled on the floor. It's supposed to be spilled on not the mizbeach, the kodshim, karbonas. It's not supposed to be spilled on the floor. It's supposed to be spilled on the mizbeach. So therefore, that's not dam shenishbach kamayim. So that's what Chizkiyah learns it out from. Fine. Okay. Next, what about Ever Menachai? Right? That's if you pull off a limb from an animal without shchita. Don't eat a nefesh with the basar. That's how we darshan out. It means when it has a nefesh, don't eat the flesh. How do you know that a person should not stretch out a cup of wine to a nazir, and Ever Menachai to Bnei Noach? You shouldn't, because it's lifnei iver. If you give it to a wine to a nazir or Ever Menachai to a Bnei Noach, then you're over on lifnei iver, right? So halaklavim shari, but it's mashma to give it to dogs. It's mutter. So you see, it's mutter about now, even though it says a lashon loisaychel. So Gemara says shani Ever Menachai diskish ledam. No, because Ever Menachai is comparable to dam. You should be mechazik yourself not to eat dam. Ki adam hu nefesh, blood is a nefesh. So therefore, we compare it to blood, and blood, since blood is mutar b'hana, like we just learned, so therefore, Ever Menachai is also mutar b'hana. Okay, so Chizkiyah, l'may hilchos iskish Ever Menachai l'dam. So Chizkiyah, again, who doesn't need a heter why it's mutar b'hana, because he says anytime it says lo yoichel, lo soichel, it doesn't mean also b'hana, it just means also b'achila. So there's no reason to compare it to dam. So why does he compare it to dam? Dam hu iskish Ever Menachai. It's the opposite. It's not Ever Menachai that's compared to blood. It's blood compared to Ever Menachai. Ever Menachai assur, just like Ever Menachai is assur, afdam Menachai assur. So also blood from a live animal is assur. That's what type of blood is that? That's the blood that squirts out right when the animal dies. That's assur. Also because it's assur stamazai, right? That's considered dam Menachai. Yeah, so therefore that's also awesome. Now, very interesting tosfos here, right? With a lot of controversy. It's actually a fairly common question, believe it or not. Why does the Gemara use a lashon of loy yoshit adam kais yayin lenazir Ever Menachai l'mnei? Don't stick it out. Why not loy nasan? Right? Why doesn't it say you don't give it to him? Loy yitain. I'm sorry, not loy nasan. Loy yitain. Right? So don't stick it out. Why doesn't it say loy yitain? Don't give it. Right? So the Gemara of the Zohar says, and this is the top tosfos, the Gemara of the Zohar says, because we're talking about who owns this Ever Menachai, the guy or the yid. So the chiddush, the Gemara says, the chiddush is that it's the guy's own Ever Menachai, it's his, or the kais yayin of nazir. Does the nazir own the wine, or does the Yisrael own the wine? So the Gemara of the Zohar says, no, they own the wine. They're just asking you to give it to them, right? So you're not allowed to give it to them because you're over on lifnei iver. Yeah? So the kasha on that is very simple. So then why would you be medayik that it's mutar b'hana if not for lifnei iver? Right? So I mean, because it's what do you mean? It's not yours to get it. You're not benefiting. Let's keep with the case of the nazir, because that would be something. The guy's a nazir. Right? And he tells you, do you mind, he's a nazir. He says, do you mind bringing me some wine from my wine cellar? What kind of benefit is there for you? It's not yours. right? What was the Gemara's whole kasha that mashma that you would be allowed to benefit from it? It's not there's no benefit issue here. We're talking about giving him what it belongs to him. So there, the Gemara answers no, because let's say you're getting paid. That if you would get paid, that would be considered benefiting from getting him his wine, right? That's what
selling something is not benefit, and getting paid for doing something is benefit.
Yes, no. We said no. It is benefit.
Said yesterday, selling is not benefit.
No, it's not. Again, Naftali. Yesterday, we didn't say that it's getting benefit. You weren't allowed to do it, but it doesn't transfer the assur onto the money. That's all. You weren't allowed to benefit from it, but the assur doesn't transfer onto the money. Here, it's called benefit from it, right? So the issue that comes up.
So is that talking about? If you have someone else, let's say it's two people that work for the guy, right? Or two people that work for them, then him asking you to do if you wouldn't do it, someone else would do it who's also employed. So then it's not. Would that be a problem? That's not lefnei. It's we'll get to that in a second. We'll get to that in a second.
So, but what comes out?
Access to this wine anyway. How's it lifnei if he already has access to it? It's not like you're changing anything.
Well, yeah, but you're getting it for him. You're getting it for him, which we're going to discuss in a minute. You're asking the same thing as Rabbi Hokar. You're saying it's this. You're asking the same thing. We'll get to that in a minute. But the halacha that maybe we could take out of this Taisus, as Taisus says, that's called benefiting from it. So now, can a waitress, can a frum woman be a waitress or a stewardess or a nurse, right? And when you serve the basar b'chalav to the patients, Peretz is right up your alley here, right? Are you over, is that allowed? Is that called being nene from assur, something that's assur b'hana? Now, I was
about to say, or an administrator.
Or an administrator, but you don't have to bring it yourself, right? But
no, but sometimes you do. The guy asks you for a sandwich. I picked up a ham sandwich the other day, and I'm like, this is very
no.
weird.
So ham is fine. See, ham is mutar
ham and
b'hana.
cheese. Ham and cheese.
Oh, so very good. So now this hooks us back up with the sugya on Amud.
Right, that's what you said.
It's not assur
But
b'hana.
That's not assur b'hana. No, because it's not cooked.
It's not assur b'hana.
Because it's not.
Plus, they both have to be kosher to be basar v'chalav.
Correct. It has to be cooked. No, it's also basar v'chalav. It's treif. No, it's treif, and it's also not cooked. Both. But let's say it's cooked. I just had it. Somebody last week asked me, "Are you allowed to be a delivery boy for Domino's Pizza?" Right? I don't think the guy himself asked. I think it was the guy's Rebbe that asked. Right? I don't remember who it was. Right?
I once asked you, Siak, if I was allowed to buy non-kosher, give money to a guy to buy non-kosher for themselves. You told me no. Remember?
I don't remember. But
you told me I was allowed to just not basar v'chalav.
That's why if you want to treat your workers and say I'm going to buy lunch for them, and they go to their treifa restaurant with your credit card.
That's a different issue.
It's also a problem.
Yeah, there's a different. That's also a problem, but not nene. That's not assur b'hana. That's called doing business with tarfus. That's the shayla. It's business. It depends how you pay for it, right? If you give them money, that's fine. If you actually go into the store and pay for it, that's already more of a problem, right? That depends how you structure it. Like everything else, you got to structure it right if you want to buy your workers food, right? But anyways, from this Taisus is mashma that you're to go, if you're an employee, to go get somebody something that's assur b'hana would be assur, even though that's called a benefit. That's called a benefit, right? So maybe this would, yeah.
I have business dealings with the Amish, so before every holiday they send me like boar's head sausages, boxes of them.
Yeah.
Can I repack them and give them to my housekeepers?
Boar's head is what?
Straight meat.
Straight meat.
Yeah, that's mutter. That's mutter b'hana. That's not a problem. Why do you have to repackage it?
I was about to say, you're packing it in Jack Gourmet sausages with a kosher attribute.
I meant re-gift.
Yeah, well, what do you call it? Yeah, we're actually going to get to that. We're going to get to that.
Don't take shelf money from Etai. Stay away from Shalach Manos Mitai.
Correct. Yeah. But anyway, so that's one zach. Yeah.
No, when you finish, I want to ask you something.
So that's one thing. Then the other thing is the other diak that the Gemara says is, what does it mean lo yoshit? Not lo yitain, you can't stick it out, because if he has the ability to get it himself, then you're not over lifnei iver. It's only if he has the only way for him to get it is for you to give it to him, then that could be lifnei iver, right? But if he can get it, meaning he can get up from the table to go to the wine cellar, he's just too lazy to get it, that's not an assur d'oraisa, that's an assur d'rabbanan, called misayeya. That's not lifnei iver. So that's another pshat why it says lo yoshit, meaning on two. It's called trei avre denara. It's only if you're on two different sides of the river, and the only way that he can get it is by you sticking it out to him, then that's over lifnei iver. But if you're on the same side of the river, then you're not over on an assur d'oraisa. So the classic question that comes up with that, and I also had that shaila last week, is I guess this guy decided to drive to Florida, and there's cheap cigarettes on the way, so he wants to know if he can pick up cigarettes cheap for his friend who smokes, or is that a lifnei iver issue? His friend's not getting these cigarettes, but maybe he's not getting them as cheap. See, that's the thing. He's not getting them as cheap, but he can get them. He's just going to pay $10 a box instead of $4. So is that called lifnei iver? Is it called rabbanan? Right? So that's yeah.
I had that. My wife's sister was still smoking. I didn't ever wanted to buy cigarettes for her in the duty free. I told my wife I shouldn't buy it for her. Yeah, I don't know if I was right. And yeah, so I want this
is that Rav Nebenthal has a psak by if someone's smoking and he drops his cigarette, he holds out its lifnei iver to pick it up and give it to him.
You serious? Wow, it could be lifnei iver or misayeya.
No, he holds out lifnei iver.
But I hear, yeah.
We have these questions in music also, when the people, if they're not so careful or not so frum, they mix dance, even while you're playing the music. You're playing the music.
I hear taka. Well, that might be a lifnei iver.
And so Shiloh sometimes comes up.
Yeah, but the thing is there, the way out, I'll regalachas, the way out of that is that you are not causing them to dance mixed.
Right.
That's not a direct result. So that's where that gets a little different. Yeah.
So this is a serious question. If Naftali should live me well, Naftali intentionally says something that he knows make me scream at him. I'm a shranz for screaming. I should not be doing that, but he knows that's what's going to happen. What is that? And obviously, I'm wrong for screaming at him, but
he's bringing Simchas Yontif to the rest of us.
Okay, so does that count? But
we all could be doing the same thing. He just chooses to do it.
Okay.
By the way, Rav Aaron, the first
drew the short straw.
Recognizing there's a problem, and it's good.
Okay.
Can you have a lifnei iver on a lifnei iver?
And private therapy.
Lifnei to the daf. Yeah, there's lifnei to lifnei. Yes, there's a shaila of lifnei to lifnei. That's the shaila. We don't say it by a guy. We say it by I don't remember the whole sugya. Bez Hashem, we get to about the Zohar. That's what the sugya is of lifnei. But it's lifnei to lifnei be'etzem is mutter. If you're going to cause somebody else, to cause somebody else. Also, the classic psak is also
can you
that.
Keep this going for another 2 minutes? I'm about to cross the GW. I'm going to lose connection. So before you go back to the daf.
Okay, we'll try. You driving back to Cleveland?
By a doctor in a hospital should ask a guy to ask another guy, not to ask a guy directly.
What could be? What do you mean? To do depends what they're doing. Yeah,
I'm saying if there's an issue, that's the whole lifnei iver to lifnei iver. Do ask two away.
Correct. Yeah, but the thing is, the big heter, the big thing that it comes out with, and also this is very nageya, is misayeya, which is the rabbanon. You don't say it. The dogma Rava, the Noid Yehuda holds, you don't say misayeya on somebody who's irreligious. If somebody is not religious, misayeya is pshat. Why? What's wrong? What's wrong if I go to the closet to get this guy his wine and he's a nazir, right? What am I doing wrong? It's not lifnei iver. He's going to get up and get it himself. Well, it's not lifnei iver. So it's misayeya. What does misayeya mean? That you're helping a yid do an avera, right? But if somebody does averas anyways, and he doesn't care about doing averas, and he's going to be doing averas a minute after you, so then why? So the Dogma of Ava says that you don't have to worry about misayeya on somebody who's irreligious. Right?
I asked you, Shaila. Remember, I asked you, Shaila, about a guy marrying a shiksa. He's buying a ring. He said he's buying a ring anyway. You're not helping him get married. He's getting married anyway. He'll come to you, come to someone else. Remember that?
Right. Yeah, I don't remember it, but yeah.
It's okay to sell him.
Yeah.
Just wanted to add, Rabbi.
Helping somebody get married is not lifnei iver, despite public opinion.
What, helping somebody to get, but there's a question. Can you be a shatchin? Can you be a shatchin for somebody who's not going to keep taras on mishpacha?
Ivanka and Jared.
Right? Can you be?
How do you know?
No.
How do you know? Maybe she keeps it.
Yeah. No, I meant before. No, the shidduch was made before she was Jewish. She converted later after they decided they were going to get married.
And a chanami, so I don't know. What about being Masada Kedushin by a chasana where we're not going to keep taras on mishpacha? This is a common shaila.
Okay, I think Gershon is over the George Washington Bridge.
Is it?
And it's not. It definitely helped him get over.
Gershon, are we clear yet? He's still on, so I mean, it
We're
seems
good.
like...
We're good.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
There's always an issue with Gershon's connections.
He's in Cleveland now. He's in Cleveland already.
Okay, he's on I-95 South. There we go. We got the clearance.
Rabbi, there's just I just wanted to mention Rabbi Hoffman wrote a sefer about 15 years ago called "Misguiding the Perplexed," which is halachas of lifnei iver. It's a very readable sefer.
Hello.
I think Yaakov froze now.
I think he's.
Why is he on the GW too?
Maybe he got a hitch with Gershon. I don't know what happened there.
I think he's thinking about the book.
Apparently, Aaron and Peretz freeze him at 9:40.
There isn't any extra space in my car, but apparently he's jealous. But, yeah.
Yaakov, you here with us?
He went over the 2 minutes.
You're on mute. Yaakov, you're on mute.
I have no idea what just happened. I guess Gershon's power reached all the way to Lakewood. Yeah, and knocked me off.
I think he beamed you into his car.
Okay, let's see weiter, yeah? Shor HaNiskel, that's our next subject. So now a Shor HaNiskel is pshat at a shor that's going to get stoned, right? Because it killed somebody. You're not allowed to even eat, you're not allowed to eat the meat, right? So well, that's obvious. That you're giving skila to the shor, meaning you're throwing rocks at it. It's a nevela. But nevela assur ba'achila, nevela is assur ba'achila. So what are you saying? Lo yochel is b'sarim. What is lo yochel telling you? Right? That if, let's say, before they made a bezdin decide, okay, we're going to kill this animal, and then you decided to jump it and you shechted it, so now are you allowed to eat it? So it's assur, right? But that only tells you that it's assur b'achila. How do you know b'hana? The balashar is naki. He's clean. What does that mean? My mashma. What's mashma from that passuk? Shimon ben Zayma Omer ka'adam shaymer l'chaveri yatzaplani naki min achasa. It's a person who's saying that a person went naki from his nechasav. Ve'ein lo behem hana shal klum, and he doesn't get any hana from it at all. Right? Somebody who unfortunately loses all his money, so he became naki from nechasav. So here too. Balashar naki mean he's clean from getting any benefit from this animal at all, even if he shechted it before it got skila. Now, what comes out is that because it said balashar naki, that's how you know you're not allowed to benefit from it. Time because of balashar naki. If it was from lo yochel, it would be mashma isra achila and not isra hana. Right? So clearly, this is a kasher bavo who says lo yochel should tell you that it's also about, no, you don't need to have a separate passuk of balashar naki to tell you that you're not allowed to benefit from it. So Gemara says, no, lo yochel isra achila v'isra no mashma. Lo yochel is mashma isra achila isra no. So we need Balashon Noki to tell you about benefiting from the skin, right? That you're not allowed to. And we need to teach it. If it says don't eat the flesh, the meat, it's mashma only its meat, not its skin, but its skin you're allowed to use. Therefore, it's teaching you, no, you're not allowed to have the meat and you're not allowed to have the skin either. Fine. So but there are other Tanoim who use this passuk to tell you that that if it just kills once, normally it has to kill 3 times. But let's say it kills once, you don't. And normally, what happens with a shor? If it gores, you pay half the damages. Right? What happens if it kills? So you think you pay chatzi koifer. Koifer is what is called kapara. For the owner has to pay a kapara for the worth of the person. So you would think you have to pay chatzi koifer or l'dmei v'ladus, which is when an animal gores a pregnant woman and she loses the fetus. You would think that she has to pay that. So they learn out from Balashar Noki that you don't have to pay the worth for the fetus. So then, but that's what they use Balashar Noki for. So hanashe minalu. How do they know that you're not allowed to get benefit from the skin? Again, because they're learning Balashar Noki, which teaches us you're not allowed to get benefit from the skin. They're learning it for Chatzi Koifer and Demei V'Ladas, right? So how do they know hanashe is assur? So nafkalu me es besarei, es atafel besarei. From the word es. So S is tuffle to the basar. Anything that's how do you call tuffle? How do you touch tuffle?
Secondary.
Subordinate, secondary. Yeah, fine. So thank you. So that's what it is. Then we get to one of the most famous Gemaras in Shas. V'idach es loydarish, and the other
one of the most. One of the most.
One of the most. It's in the top 10.
One of the most.
Actually, I just want to make sure. I want to keep a record of it.
That's what
I know, that's what we're telling you.
No, that's usually with Tosfos. We usually, when we say Tosfos, one of the most important Tosfos in Shas. Gemara's, but anyways, Vidach es loydarish. She doesn't dash an es. Kedetanya Shimon Hamsuni, Ba'amila Nechemia Hamsuni, Hayadarish Kol Esem Shabbat Torah. They darshan every s that it said in the Torah. Since he got to the passuk that says you should fear Hashem. Pirish. So then he didn't mean, it doesn't mean he explained it, meaning he stopped. He couldn't understand why it says the word S there. S, what more than fear of God, what more are you adding on to that? So now if you can't darshan every single S, so then you have no right to darshan all of them. Meaning if there's even one S that you're missing, then you can't darshan all of them. Right? Because the only way out is saying, oh, this S is there for no reason, let's say. So that means all the S's that you gave a reason to, it's also out the window. So just like it was Makabel Schar for learning it out, for darshaning it, I'm also going to be Makabel Schar from not learning it out anymore, which is interesting Gemara onto itself.
Taka is very good. This is a very important one. You have to know when to bail out. I completely agree. There's a huge musser schmooze.
Yeah.
Get your ego out of the way.
And then right, that's true. When you get the same schar for pulling back as you will for darshaning. That's one thing.
What do they say?
What?
They say that the Kedushia Rim wrote a Pirish on Shulchan Aruch, and he showed it to the Kotzker, to his Rebbe. And he says it's gavaldik. You can't publish it because people won't learn the Magen Avram if you publish this. So he didn't publish it.
That's pretty good.
It's fits in with the.
Yeah.
There's a sefer I heard last night. 4,000 esim. It's 2-volume book with 4,000 esim that darshans.
Is that so?
Yeah, I heard Rabbi Stefanski say last night. 2-volume, 4,000 esim.
Was the last name Amsuni by any chance? Anyway, fine. Or make a modern version of Amsuni, like Amos or something, Amos, whatever. Okay. The Taka, I never heard of that.
Yeah, 4,000.
Fine. Okay. Very good. Then came Rebbe Kiva, and he darshaned the S, and it says it comes to include that Talmidei Chachamim, that you have to fear Talmidei Chachamim just like Rashi says, the fear of your Rebbe should be no different than the fear of Shemayim. Now you're going to say, okay, nowadays not so much fear of Shemayim, so then you don't have to necessarily have so much fear of the Rebbe either. I don't know which came first, chicken or the egg, but okay.
Can I ask a stupid question, maybe?
Yeah.
What's wrong with I don't know? Like, I mean, I don't understand the Talmidim's Havamina. So he knew 99 answers out of 100. Why does that invalidate the 99 answers? I mean,
no, you're right. But the thing is like this: if you have no way to explain one of the S's, then the whole point is he's saying that every time the Torah says the word S, it's coming to teach us something. But if you even come on to one, it wasn't pshat that he didn't know. He just said there was nothing that it could possibly add it. That's what he thought. So if that's the case, so then that negates all the S's, because maybe that's just the way the Torah talks, let's say, right? Which sometimes the Gemara answers that when the Gemara has it shver, why the Torah uses a certain passuk. So I say, that's lashon b'nei adam, right? So if you can't prove all of them, then yeah. So that's what he's saying.
I don't understand this one. He said this one doesn't mean anything, and then it removed all the
correct
others.
Right, and then Mamela tells you that they're all yeah. Okay, so then let's just do the one more Gemara. Orlah, now we're up to Orlah. The Rahmana Amar, now Orlah is the first 3 years of a tree. You're not allowed to use the tree for the first 3 years, and then the 4th year is not the Ravai. Okay, so the first 3 years, all right. Orlah, the Rahmana Amar, Areidim lo yochel. You're not allowed to eat a tree for the first 3 years. But Tanya Areidim lo yochel, ainli ela isra achila. It only tells you isra achila minayin shelo yehanim mimenu. How do you know you're not allowed to benefit from a tree from the first 3 years? Shelo yitzvah boy. You shouldn't use it to dye things, right? Dye meaning to color things. V'lo yadlik boy is a ner. Oh, Chanukah sugya. You shouldn't use it to light a ner. Tamalem v'araltam or losoi. Areilim lo yochel. The rabbi says kulam. It says 3 lashonos that with lo yochel to include all of them. Now, what's going to be the obvious question? Time it because of Rachmanov, Araltam or losoi areilim. I would have thought that it's only Isra Achila, not Isra Hana, right? And we are going with Rabbi Vo, who says that anytime it says Lo Yachel, tells you Isra Hana. So why do you need this sophisticated limud of the saying oral 3 times? So Gemara says no. Lo Yachel mashma bein Isra Achila bein Isra Hana. It is called Lo Yachel does tell you Isra Achila Isra Hana b'shani hasam dichsiv lochem. Since it says lochem by Orlah, so you would think and you need a tzaka because of lochem. Since it says lochem, that the Orlah is yours, shalachem yehei, that means it should be yours, and you should be able to benefit from it. Kamash malon, it teaches us no that it's not. Right? So then the obvious question is, okay, so don't write lochem, and then I don't need all this passuk. These psukim, elohashta d'ksivi hanach kroi lochem. And what do you need lochem for? Look at the Tanya, lochem, the rabbi says, and the two of the rabbin. Lochem is coming to include a tree that was planted for the public, right? So you would think that maybe there's no din of Orlah on it. So the Gemara is saying, no, there is. There's an interesting Machlokes Rashi tells us here. What does it mean, a tree for the public? So Rashi says, it's a tree that was planted in the middle of the street. You know, like they had the safe, whatever, the trees thing from the city a while ago. They planted trees all over. So, but they planted on the sidewalks. So there would be no din Orlah. Tosfos says that's not what the case is. It says it's planted in a private property, but it's planted for public use. Right? Again, Rashi says that it's planted in the street. Tosfos says no, it's planted in private property, but just for public use. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. Rabbi Yehuda it comes to exclude a public tree where there's no Orlah on a public tree. My time of the Tanakama. Why does the Tanakama say what they say? It says you should plant. That's liyachid mashma. That's mashma for a yachid. And Rashi says, what do you mean? A tatem is plural, right? So what does it mean liyachid? Because a yachid doesn't, a rabbin doesn't plant. Usually planting is done by a private person. And it says when a tatem is liyachid mashma, l'rabbim loy mashma. It's not mashma for the public. Then kasar rachman lachem, and then it says the Torah says that it should be yours. Lahaviyas and the tu l'rabbim, it comes to include that you're not allowed to plant it. Rabbi Yehuda and Natatem mashma bein l'rav bein l'yochid. Natatem sounds like you planting it, whether it's for the public, whether it's private. Lachem bein b'yochid bein l'rav. and it's yours as a Yachid and Rab. Mashma is, I'm sorry, V'lochem bein Yachid bein Rab and Mashma. It's Mashma bein Yachid bein Rab. Havi riboy achar riboy. So it's an inclusion after an inclusion, right? Two times it's telling you that it would be mutter. Ve'ein riboy achar riboy ela l'mayit. When the Torah tells you two psukim, one after the other, to include things, what's really coming to tell you is to exclude. Now, what the lumdus is behind that, I can't say I fully understand. So the Torah is telling you two ribuyim, twice. It's telling you to include public trees, and you think, okay, that would not have Orlah. And we're saying, no, it's coming to, I'm sorry that it would have Orlah. It's coming to exclude it. Lamaya to tell you, no, it does not have Orlah. So that's the pshat, how you darshan out the passuk. It basically this Machlokes revolves around whether the passuk unetatem is mashma for a yachid or it's mashma for a rabbi. Okay, that's enough for tonight. Fine. Even with all our sidetracks, it's only 5 to 10, but it was a quick daf tonight. Fine. All right.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a safe trip.
Amen. Thank you.
You passing Patterson yet?
Passed or whatever, yeah.
John, can I ask you a quick shaila?
Yeah, go ahead.
Have a good night.
Someone asked me this. If someone goes to the beach, they're thinking about going to the beach for winter break. Is sand inherently like muksa on Shabbos?
And what does that mean?
Like if they're not going to go in the water, can their kids go on the sand?
Interesting. Why not?
I don't know. There's lots of things that are assur that I don't understand.
I hear. Okay. I hear that. Well, there's can be potential two things. Sand could be muksa, and two, you could be digging holes when you walk.
Okay.
Right. So the digging holes when you walk is not really a hole, so that's not a problem. And the sand being muksa, it's not. You're moving it from the side. It's not chalai. It's not the derech. It's with a shinu.
No, I'm saying, but if they want to dig in the sand.
Oh, digging in the sand.
Yeah, then I'm saying the kids are going to want to play.
How old are the kids?
Hagia l'chinuch for sure.
They should not be digging in sand on Shabbos.
Even that goes for even like in a park or a sandbox.
Yeah, listen. If they listen to the sugi we were doing in the morning last week. If they do it on their own, so they do it on their own,
Right.
But to bring them there.
Okay, so in general, you can't even walk on the sand on Shabbos. Is that the long and short of it?
No, you could walk. Walking is yes. Walking is fine.
But if you have to be careful not to make holes if you walk.
No, you're gonna make holes, but that's not. You don't want the holes, and the holes get filled right in, and it's not. That's not a.
You said you don't even have to worry about walking on snow, and snow's not going to fill itself right in.
Right, you don't have to worry about it. So it's just if they actually actively dig.
Okay, fine. All right, I'll tell them.
How was shul on Shabbos? I forgot to ask you how shul was on Shabbos. Shul
was very good because the early minions started up again, so the whole thing was irrelevant.
Okay.
I didn't.
So you got good. So you get the schar anyways for saying you're gonna go.
I'm saying in Paris, are we still recording? Before I give you my longer answer.